Misty's journal entry, A New Beginning. So let me tell you what my brave adventurers did for me. I know now that I was murdered. The black jackal cut off my head to prove some vile point to them, to mock their courage, to break their will. My death was meant as a sacrifice. My soul offered to some beast, something from beyond. I do not blame the adventurers. They walked straight into his trap trying to save me, and it was I who paid the price. My blood was spilled so he could make his bargain. I should be gone forever. Yet I am not. It seems that my soul was stolen, hidden, locked away in the shadow realm, a prison between life and death, where memory itself is devoured. I cannot remember the torment, but I feel it in my bones. In dreams, I hear whispers and see flashes, hooks pulling at me, faces I do not know screaming in endless pain, corridors black as ink that stretch forever. My unlikely rescuer was Olgar's sister, the woman who long ago died and rose again as some cursed, half-mad fiend. She cared nothing for me, but the adventurers bargained with her, and she agreed to open the way. She slit her own wrist, letting black blood spill into a bowl, thick and writhing with maggots. Her blood turned to smoke, seared the mirror of recollection, cracked it, and from those cracks a doorway of shadows opened. Through that doorway my adventurers went. Bum Bum, Captain Sanders, Laura, Solara, Bourdain. These were the names of those who risked all for me. The forest. They began their journey through a forest that was no forest at all. The trees grew twisted, stripped of leaves, their bark slick with something that gleamed like tar. From the shadows rose wraiths, 6 of them, long fingers stretched like razors, their moans hollow, empty of hope. They sought to drain the very life from my friends. The battle was vicious. I am told Laura's spells lit the darkness, Solara's blade cleaved the shadows, and Sanders' shield stood firm though the wraiths clawed at him. Bum Bum roared against the spirits, hacking them apart like kindling. They prevailed, but only just. The cavern of Olgar's sister. The cavern stank of rot. She had filled it with ogre zombies, their swollen hulks standing like sentinels in the dark. They did not move as my adventurers passed, their heads twisting slowly to follow them, eyes pale and sightless. Each one could have crushed them, but none attacked. Her word had bound them. She demanded her price. A favor for the barmaid's soul, she hissed, her voice like rust on iron. The adventurers agreed, though I shudder to think what debt now hangs over them. And so she opened the way. The corridor of shadows. The portal vomited them into a corridor that was not made for mortals. The walls wept with shadow, liquid darkness that dripped like tar. Faces pressed against the surface from within, mouths open in silent screams, their eyes rolling, their features twisting as though drowning in the walls themselves. The floor shifted like ash and glass beneath their boots, every step crunching like bone. They walked this passage until it opened into the first chamber. The chamber of tortured souls. Here the air was filled with screaming. Souls hung on hooks that dangled from chains in the ceiling, their translucent flesh torn and stretched, their mouths open but their cries hollow, echoing in endless loops. Fiends moved among them, horned, shadow-skinned, their talons raking across the souls to make them scream louder, though the souls had no breath to give. The adventurers could not help them. To touch them would have been to join them. So they walked on, their eyes set grimly ahead. The mirror chamber. The next chamber was a place of mirrors. At its center stood a tall frame of obsidian glass, cracked with veins of crimson light. 6 swirling mists circled it, each one hissing, whispering, lashing out with invisible claws. When the adventurers approached, the mist struck, flinging them back with force like a tempest wind. The mists spoke in voices stolen from the dead, mocking them, tempting them. But my adventurers would not falter. Ayers, so I am told, cast a spell that shielded their souls, though their bodies still bled and broke in the battle. The clash was terrible. The mists clung like leeches, draining strength, trying to tear away their memories. But one by one, the adventurers struck them down until silence fell. Bum Bum went through the mirror first, and the rest followed. The prison of ash glass. This was where I was kept. The chamber was vast, its walls jagged black crystal, each surface reflecting broken fragments of light. The air was thick with ash, and every breath cut the lungs like knives. At the center stood the jailer of ash glass, a towering figure of bone and shadow, its limbs stretched too long, its ribcage hollow with cinders glowing within. Its voice was not its own but mine, twisted and played backwards as though mocking my cries for help. It offered a bargain. Leave me and be free. My adventurers refused, so it attacked. The battle was chaos. The jailer's claws raked through armor and flesh, its magic shattering memory itself. One adventurer forgot how to wield his own weapon, another forgot the words to her spell. Specters swarmed the chamber, rising from the floor like smoke, their shrieks rattling the stone. The adventurers fought desperately. Bourdain scooped up my body, my soul's vessel, and carried me while the others fought to keep him safe. Sanders' shield rang under each blow. Laura's fire seared the jailer's hide. Solara's sword flashed silver in the gloom. Bum Bum, with a roar, drove his weapon through the jailer's spine, cracking it like glass. With a scream that was part mine, part demon, the jailer fell. But even then, the specters pressed them. They fought their way back through the corridor, my fragile soul in Bourdain's arms, the walls screaming as they ran. They burst through the portal just as Olgar's sister's spell began to collapse. She only smiled and whispered, "You owe me." Then I was gone, my soul turning to light, carried to the temple where rites were performed to return me. Return. When I opened my eyes, I was alive. My children, grown now, stood at my side. Big Ryan, who trains with Fritz in the arcane arts. Lysa, who dreams of following in my footsteps. Marta wept. Fritz smiled. The tavern roared with joy. And me? I wept too. For though I am alive, I do not feel the same. The nightmares come. They whisper of hooks, of mirrors, of a place that smelled of oranges and blood. But I am back. Back at the tavern, serving ale, greeting adventurers, laughing at their tales. My new life begins here, with ink on this page, and the memory of what they did for me. They went into hell itself and brought me back.